I still like darkness. Okay. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Yolanda, and today's video I'm back with episode 1. It might be episode 1, but like it could be another episode. But basically I'm back with that for my podcast. Welcome to Unfiltered Me. In today's video I'm going to be telling you guys my testimony of how I went from new age to a born again Christian. So before we get started, make sure you give this video a huge thumbs up, make sure to subscribe down below, and if I just go on with this video. Okay, so to start with, so growing up I was born in the Mormon church, but if we're going way back, my dad basically converted my mom on his mission because he went to South Africa and that's what they meant. Along the way they had me, grew up in the church. I feel like for the most part, like, I was a little bit disconnected, not even gonna lie. Like, you know, I would be like kind of like the black sheep of the family. I would do things, I would say things that just be out of line, but for the most part we were like also like the typical like wannabe like, you know, Molly Mormon family, I feel like, because we like did everything. Like we sang, we did lessons, my parents were in leadership roles, I was in leadership roles too. We always were at church, always active. We knew everybody, especially being black. First of all, like, you know us, like, you know that we're there or if we're not there and stuff like that. But I feel like going on to like especially COVID year, that's when I was like kind of in my self-discovery era, and for some reason I just, and it wasn't like, oh, a split-second decision, but it was more of like over the course of like 2-3 months, you know, I was thinking to myself, and eventually came to a point where I realized that the church was unfit for me and for my needs, and for it no longer aligned with my beliefs and what I thought of the world. And I started looking to the CES letter, and I started talking to other people, watching, you know, even some of my favorite YouTubers who are part of the church left near the same time too. And I started thinking, at first I was like, oh my gosh, why this and that, and then I started hearing their side, hearing the story, and realizing I related a lot. And so basically, you know, fast forward, here I am now, nearly 2 years, ex-Mormon, and I don't go around like, oh yeah, I'm ex-Mormon. I'm just like, I'm no longer in the church for real. But that's for another video if you want to hear more details about how that kind of life is. But basically, you know, going on like that, it was hard for sure. I remember my dad, like, once I left the church, he was like, oh yeah, you're gonna be on the streets, you're gonna do this and that, and at the end of the day, like, it's kind of crazy just a little bit, because it's just like, dang, like, you're just gonna, like, you're really that into church that you're willing to put the church over like me for, because like not just like that, but like just in general, like would make remarks or like talk about the music I listen to. It wasn't even bad music, it was like literally like it was other churches type of music, like, you know, other gospel music that's out there. And for when he listens to that, but then when I listen to it, it's like, oh yeah, I'm wrong. It's always like that. He would just like, I don't know, it would kind of put me off in a way. But basically, all in all, you know, I'll be honest, you know, I've been involved with some things, I've talked to some people, and I'm not the proudest of it. Do I regret it? I say for the most part, it's like what I wanted in the moment, and I did it because, not to just like against like my parents or the church and this and stuff, but I did it because, you know, at the end of the day, like, I'm a high schooler, I'm 16 years old, like, you know, it was only kind of a matter of time, a little bit. But not just because of that, but at the end of the day, it's just like at this age, like, I need to learn and make my own mistakes. And I feel like a part of it, like that life that I was trying to achieve, even today I was talking to my friend about manifestation, and I didn't really realize like how bad it was in a way, and like how so much deep I was into that, and like not necessarily crystals, but like, you know, even zodiac signs and just a lot of the stuff that goes against it in the Bible. And I never realized how much I invested that into it until I just, you know, recognize it now, until I realize like maybe like I don't need to rely on those for my future, but I should rely on the Lord. It was kind of like that. But I remember, you know, even early on, before I even left the Mormon church, my friend, thank you, and literally God bless her forever in her life, but she introduced me to her church, and that's how I got into there, and I started listening to their music, and music kind of gets to me, so like hearing that, it kind of like influenced me, and over the years, and so that's why then I went to her church and I started seeking that support. And then I remember immediately, like after I left that church, like not like left it, like oh, but I just like didn't continue going, because usually it would be on Wednesday nights, and that was when I had track meets, so I just want to go. And then after the whole track season, I just forgot that routine, and then I stopped going and stuff like that. But even also another experience is I worked at the cleaners, and this lady, she just for some reason just brought up the Lord, and somehow I got into my story of being like no longer in the Mormon church and stuff like that. And she just one day just brought me a Bible because she asked me if I wanted one, and I was like sure. And you know, I would read it, but not all the time. But yeah, I really did try, and I still read that now. And other examples, I remember I was at work, and I remember this lady just came up to me, and then she's like, you know, like, do you want to be on TV one day? No, it was actually the man and the woman. No, the man came up to me, then the woman. But he was like, do you want to be on TV there? And I was like, oh, how would you know? And he was just like, I just felt it. And out of all my coworkers out there, because we were closing, they were the last people there, and out of all my coworkers that were there, then he starts talking about like, oh yeah, and God and stuff like that. And for some reason, he just said that he felt the urge to come to me, and I'd always been praying for a sign, and I feel like that was a sign that I needed. And so through everything that I've been through, you know, I've not made the best decisions, but overall, there's always been a way that the Lord has revealed to me that like, hey, that I'm here. As many times as I went, I've ignored it because sometimes, you know, like just like that little bit of pride of like, oh yeah, my life's going good, this and that in this moment. But even in the good and the bad moments, like I feel like you still do need the Lord, and he wants to not only hear your sorrows but also like your triumphs in life and stuff like that. And I don't know, it just got really bad to the point where like I was just really like stuck in a place. And the thing is, like, I would go to church, you know, like my friend, she's been helping me, she's been trying to guide me, and she set a really good example for me, and I'm really grateful for her. And sometimes it's hard to like, you know, separate the world and trying to like, you know, be like God and not do all the sins, like, you know, those little sins and also the big sins that, you know, like that you do every single day. But I feel like at the end of the day, like, see, that's another thing that was like really holding me back from making this video, because I was like, you know, like I don't have the, like, what if I don't have the best testimony or whatever, like what if it's like not that special, nobody wants to hear. And when I really thought about it, I was just thinking that maybe this is the perfect story for somebody to hear one day. Whether or not it may resonate with you, I hope it does. I hope that you can learn something or you can be inspired from it. But at the end of the day, like, I don't have a grand story, something that's happened that made me like really realize that I need the Lord. It was really through the small moments that I did really try to tune in and listen. And I just feel like, I don't know, I still struggle a lot. I'm not perfect. I literally just made a big mistake today, but I'm really trying. And at the end of the day, I feel like that's just all the Lord requires. It's just like a genuine heart, and if you really try. And you know, after going through the life of the stuff that I was involved with and the people that I was, it made me realize that at the end of the day, like, I deserve more, and that the Lord can offer me more. But it may not come in the timing that I want, but at the end of the day, that he's always going to pull through. He always has. And I remember this one big incident where I prayed and the Lord gave me that strength, and I knew that he was there with me. And in times in doubt, when I really need encouragement, because my seasons of running have kind of gone a little bit downhill, but when I really want encouragement, I really think of that moment, and I think of all the moments like the lady who came up to me at my work, the lady who came up to me at my other job, and who gave me the Bible, through my friends who introduced me to church. And I know at the end of the day, like, they all had best interest, and it was all meant and assigned to lead me to where I am today. And I'm no perfect. I once again still make mistakes and everything like that, but at the end of the day, I may not be in the best position where I am at right now, but at the end of the day, I know the Lord will help me get through it. especially a lot of the things that are like in my personal life, where it's just like, dang, like I've been going through this for like literally 16 years of my life. Why am I going through that? And then literally just a month ago, I was diagnosed with like 2 different things. I'm just like, why this and that? And at the end of the day, there's nothing I can do about it, to be honest. Like, there's things I can do about it, but like ultimately, like the best cure, the best, you know, place to, an outlet to give it to is truly the Lord, because he has a plan. And man, I really do try, and I'm sure you guys do too. Sometimes it can really get hard, but at the end of the day, you just gotta keep holding on and find joy in the simplest things, or even be grateful for everything. And because I truly don't know where I'd be at without the Lord. I literally just went on a family trip, and I literally like was going through it. But when I tell you, every time something happened, I prayed through it. I knew the Lord was there with me, even though like part of me, like I'm still like waiting to like feel, like, you know, people are like, oh yeah, like I feel it and stuff like that. I have not had that moment. I had it like months and months ago, but I just really wanted it again. But even though I may not feel it or feel his presence all the time, or even when I'm discouraged, or may feel like, oh, like what if he's not listening, or this and that, at the end of the day, just having the hope and continue to praying and reading the scriptures and doing what's right, it just keeps me holding on and seeing that through that effort, that in his own due time, that he does have a plan and that he does have a way. We just have to trust in that. And so I hope one day I'll be able to be baptized. I don't even know when that'll be, because still part of me is just fighting back, am I truly ready? But honestly, at the end of the day, we have to start somewhere, and you never know if tomorrow's even promised, which is why I always just want to do now. And because I feel like I'm always gonna make mistakes, I'm always gonna sin, but I still do want to be in the right, like if this is really what I want. But I think it really is, and I know that the Lord is true, and I know that we can make it through heaven, and that having a relationship is all that's really required, to be honest. And just being genuinely a good person. Like, I don't need to work my way to heaven, just like how my experience, how it felt like that was in the Mormon church. At the end of the day, like, I'm worthy and good enough just the way I am, and I'm proud to be a Christian, and I hope to be a born again Christian to be baptized. And this is kind of my story, and I hope that it can inspire you. And so yeah, thank you so much for watching. Peace is already out.